Exposing Workplace Bullying, where we pull back the curtain and have real conversations about workplace abuse. I'm your host, Dr. Jan Kircher. This is episode 2. Is this really bullying? You walk into work with a knot in your stomach. You have already rehearsed what you'll say if you're cornered. You scan the room, looking left and then right, wondering if today is the day they'll go after you. Or maybe you'll get a rare moment of peace. Your shoulders are so tight. Your breath is shallow because every sound, every glare, every whisper feels loaded. You can't relax, not even for a second. It's just too risky. That's what this episode is about. Being in it, day after day, and finally realizing this isn't just a bad workplace or a bad boss. It's bullying. It's an abusive workplace. We have been fed this idea that bullying is loud, obvious. You can spot it from across the room. That's just wrong and couldn't be further from the truth. Most of the time, workplace bullying is quiet, calculated, and it is easy to miss. In the beginning, it might be a single comment in a meeting, your colleagues rolling their eyes when you talk. You're presenting an idea and someone cuts in with, "Ha ha, wow, that's interesting." People chuckle. You smile like it's nothing, but inside, your stomach flips. Your face feels hot. You tell yourself to stay calm, but you just can't shake it. Other times, it's more blatant. Your boss belittling you in front of everyone, or gaslighting you, telling you what you saw with your own eyes did not happen. That's when you start questioning yourself. You feel that knot in your stomach tighten. Something's off, but you're just not sure what. You test the waters with a colleague, asking if they've noticed anything. They shrug, glance away, or even change the subject. You begin to wonder, what is it no one wants to talk about? Is it that they've seen it too? Or are they too afraid to say it out loud? Why does it suddenly feel like you're the only one standing out in the open while everyone else hides? The truth is, no two people experience workplace abuse in the exact same way. It shows up differently for everyone. But there's one question I hear all the time. How do you know if you're being bullied? It's not like finding out you're diabetic. There's no test, no clear result, no single moment when someone hands you a piece of paper saying, "Yes, you're definitely being bullied at work." It's not that simple. Years ago, I put together my own criteria to help people tell if they are being bullied at work. I revisited the research for this episode to see if mental health and healthcare fields now agree upon a universal set. They don't. So here are the signs I rely on, grounded in research and lived experiences. As I walk you through the criteria, if most of them hit close to home, there's a good chance you're dealing with workplace bullying. Here's the first one. This isn't a one-off bad day. It's behavior that repeats over and over. It's persistent. It's not just one email from your boss. It's emails, comments, and other behaviors piling on. And it's not once every few months. It's showing up regularly at your workplace, week after week, sometimes every single day, multiple times a day. It has also been going on for months. Many experts use about 3 months as a benchmark for persistence, but in reality, most bullying lasts much, much longer. And your workplace is affecting you both personally and professionally. At home, you might be sleeping more or less, eating more or less, feeling anxious or depressed, maybe even developing physical symptoms like ulcers. It also changed how you work. You've adjusted your habits or behaviors because of the bullying. Something else to think about is what's happened to you when you've tried to deal with it. Have you reported it or tried to resolve it? Did it help? Or did it actually make things worse and you got bullied more after trying to get it to stop? Another clear sign is when the group's behavior is off at your workplace. The group dynamic and your colleagues, whether through silent participation or dismissal, makes the bullying against you worse. It's become normalized, and this behavior helps cover it up and protect the bully. You might want to hit pause and give yourself a minute to think about these criteria and whether they're happening to you at work. I know it's a hard pill to swallow, realizing your colleagues are abusing you. But don't believe for a second that you've caused this. You haven't. You're being bullied because there's a bully in your workplace and an organization allowing it to happen. Now that you know what workplace bullying can look like, let's talk about what it feels like when you're living it day after day. I want you to know what you're going to hear. It's not unique. I've heard stories like this from so many different people, different workplaces, different industries, all across the globe. The details change, but the pattern is the same. What I'm about to share might sound like just one bad workplace, but it's happening to millions of people right now, and it might even be happening to you. Here's what it looked like and felt like for me. I would wait until the very last minute to get up, lying there with a heavy knot in my stomach, dreading the day ahead. I always made my coffee the night before, something to cling to, the one small comfort I knew was waiting. That first hot cup in the morning felt like the only gentle part of my day, a fleeting calm before walking back into the storm. Then I would wake my son up, get him breakfast, and I'd hop in the shower and get dressed. After he ate, I'd drop him off at school and head to work. Music kept me going, songs that made me feel strong. I played them on repeat like an armor I could put on. Oftentimes it was, I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty. I'd imagine myself as a warrior with armor and a strong shield. I'd give myself the usual pep talk as I was walking from my car to the building. I can do this. It's not that bad. I'm strong. I won't back down. Even as my heart pounded, I kept moving forward. I always took the long way in, slipping up the back stairs, trying to avoid running into anyone. I would keep my office door cracked just enough to seem open, just enough to keep up appearances, but never enough to actually invite someone in. If I passed colleagues in the hallway, I'd force a polite hello. Most of the time, they didn't bother to respond. More than once, I'd catch someone spotting me and then turning around deliberately, walking the other way. It felt like I carried the invisible contagion, like I had the plague. The cyberbullying for me was relentless. Every time I opened my email, there it was. Another jab, another put down, another attack. It wasn't just one person either. Emails were CC'd and BCC'd to others, making sure everyone could see the insults. Then piling on became the routine. Each new message like another shove in the hallway. Sometimes it crossed the line into outright threats. One time, a fixed-term faculty member told me she was going to report me to the police for unprofessional behavior. This came in the same email where she berated me. Apparently, that counted as professional. But if I had said anything back, that would have been crossing the line. That's workplace bullying in action, the old double standard. To this day, when I hear the ding of my email notification, it can still make the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Yeah, much of what they did was very subtle and covert, and I'm sure I don't know everything they did. But they did a lot of things like excluding me from emails so I wouldn't have the information I needed to do my job, or sending one version of a message and then telling me, no, not that way, only to change it again later. Other actions were blatant. They denied me classes and summer courses, knowing I was a single mom and needed the income. Sometimes they would even make things up just so I couldn't teach a class. I'd go to the union, and every now and then it worked, but most of the time they just got away with it. I've had my performance evaluations used against me more than once. And I had a chair once who openly told people she was going to get me. Yeah, she did eventually, but we'll talk about that later. She lied about me constantly. She accused me of being so loud in a meeting that a colleague had an asthma attack. Later, that colleague sent an email saying it was actually a perfume allergy. But by then, the damage was done. And the chair didn't care if the lie was true. She did those things to hurt and harm me. They were done on purpose. My computer monitor broke once. The chair told me there was no budget to replace it. But if you were in with the bully, you got a new computer. But I was on the shit list, so I didn't get a monitor. I can remember just being so angry that I wasn't going to get a monitor, which I needed to do my job. But I guess in retrospect, that was the point. I eventually talked to the tech people who provided me with not one, but 2 monitors. I can just remember feeling so happy that I kind of got one over on the bully because they didn't want to provide me with the monitor, but I ended up with 2. Meetings were so chaotic, yelling and screaming and name calling and crying. I used to have so much anxiety and tension going to faculty meetings. There was no pretense of professionalism. That had gone decades ago. And it didn't matter who was in the room, people just let it rip. It was at that point in one meeting where I realized that bullying was normalized and bullying was expected. And that's exactly what workplace bullying is about, is when your workplace has shot professionalism out the door and bullying is your new workplace standard. 2 weeks after I started one job, I went and reported what was happening to the associate dean, who told me, "When things get bad, Jan, just pull out your phone and play games." That was his way of saying, "I know it's happening, but you're on your own, sister." I experienced all different types of workplace bullying, from subtle to overt to covert, all of it. Every day felt like walking into a minefield, never knowing what might explode in my face. But nothing rattled me more than what happened during one faculty meeting. One of the bullies jumped up and charged around the table at me. I was terrified. Just as quickly as it started, she caught herself and sat back down. But I was scared and my heart was pumping. What just happened? I looked around at my colleagues. Every one of them was looking down at their phone. They took the associate dean's advice, but not one person spoke up or acted like having a colleague charge around the table was a problem. As soon as that meeting was over, I reported it to my dean, who within seconds of my sending the email, kicked it over to HR. My dean wasn't having any part of it. No one wanted to get involved. The report went nowhere because everybody else claimed it never happened. I look like a liar. Months later, HR finally got around to call me in, but not to hear my story, to tell me they wanted me to wipe the slate clean. Wipe the slate clean, I said. Are you kidding me? I'm the one who's being abused. I'm going to keep reporting this until you finally take me seriously. Well, I think we know that never happened. You know, I always left work the same way I came in, out the back, sneaking, trying not to be noticed. But it never left my mind. I think back now, and I realized I was obsessed with wanting it to stop, for someone to acknowledge, to say they believed me, just to have one normal, non-abusive day at work. That didn't happen until I left academics. Being bullied is humiliating. It's embarrassing to have your colleagues call you names behind your back or exclude you like you don't exist. Even though I knew deep down in my heart I hadn't done anything to deserve it, it was still painful and shameful to be treated that way every day in front of others. Back then, I drank a lot, every night in fact. It was the only way I knew to dull the pain and to stop thinking about work. I was so worn down, so hopeless, that every night I prayed God would bring me home and let me die so I wouldn't have to go back into work tomorrow. That's how bad it was. And yet, every morning, I forced myself to get up and walk back in. That was a day in my life when I was experiencing workplace bullying. And the reality, I became immune to many of those things that happened to me. Being abused, being called names, having my resources taken away from me, not having enough to do my job, being lied about and gossiped about and gaslit. Being abused at work, it became everyday work for me. It was a normal part of my workday. My story isn't unique. I've heard hundreds of others, heartbreaking stories, some much worse than mine. Supervisors throwing staplers and office equipment, people blocking the doorway so you can't leave, changing timesheets to mess with someone's pay, and others so afraid of being attacked they won't use the restroom in their work building. Workplace bullying can be subtle, or it can be violent. Either way, the damage is real. And while we can't erase it, we can talk about how to lessen its toll. And that's where we're headed next. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And if this episode hit home, check out stopbullyculture.com. That's where I share tools, resources, and real talk to help you deal with workplace abuse. And if you know someone who might need to hear this, share it with them. Until next time.
They gaslight and plot, play their games. Witness a smile, you're part of the shame. Your boss stays silent, closing the door. How many voices will they ignore? The bully lies, the brave get burned. The office watches, no lessons learned. Your boss hides, truth gets colder. It's time to stop the bully culture.